So today we're going to talk about the idea of permission and whoever asked your permission. What do I mean by this? Well, I was having a conversation with a good friend. We all know how that feels, having a good friend in life, someone you can share things with. And this is someone that asked my permission to give feedback to me, who understands me. And when they ask for my permission, they understand that things like unsolicited advice sucks. That phrase or that concept in the world, that sort of sucks, right? Somebody gives you advice you don't want to hear. And then you're in a position, the suckiness of it, right, which may not be the most apt word in the world, but the suckiness of it is that you then have to, instead of getting support and consolation, sort of like the book of Job points out when his friends come to scold him, if you're familiar with that reference. What instead he's looking for, what a friend is someone that is going to offer him consolation, like something to help him process through. But instead, somebody's offering you the way that they would do the world. Now, what are they doing? They are trying to help you. Ultimately, they really are trying to help you. Now, this is an interesting view of what we started with, permission. And if we step that a little bit further, we can say, all right, well, let's fall over on the beach here. And that's actually a really interesting thought. We don't want to fall over, right? So let's step that further with that thought. So we don't want to fall over. So what happens if we stop surrounding ourselves with people that ask our permission? What happens when we stop asking for our own permission? Well, that's usually a state where our self-esteem is at such a point where we don't even trust ourselves. And a lot of people like that are surrounded by people that will tell them what to do. They're people that struggle with saying no. I know how that feels. It feels hopeless. It feels like you can't do anything right. Where did that come from? Were you born with that? Were you born with that feeling? I don't know, but I don't think so. So if we go off that and we're moving this forward with not falling over and we're starting with permission, then we can go back to one of the oldest stories known to man. And by putting this out there, I'm not saying that I support any specifically, or I shouldn't have to defend if I'm supporting a spirituality or not, is a good way of saying this. I'm going to give a story, and it's from a specific spirituality, and that's something we can maybe all learn from. And you can hear my consideration or past anxiety around giving unsolicited advice, about saying something around a lot of people who seems as though they wanted to correct me more than learn. So when you're not giving consolation, you have friends around you that really don't want to offer you that, then you end up not trusting yourself. In fact, you lose the idea of my permission matters. And that's just not a situation that I think anybody would ever want you to be in. Now, the story that I'll move forward with on is the story of Adam and Eve, right? So we'll just skip most of the story and we'll hop right to where Adam eats the apple. And God basically has a conversation with him after he eats the apple and says, all right, well, now that you've eaten the apple, you got to work. Now that you're conscious of the world, you got to work. That brings up an interesting question of whoever asked Adam's permission. He was naive. He didn't know. Somebody told him, hey, this is the way of the world. This is like Nietzsche's Metamorphose, right? Where the dragon says to us, well, its only defense is described as the two words, thou shalt. And that means this is the way of the world. That's the dragon's defense. And it stops you from becoming the child where you can create something new. A lot of people want to tell you how to be. A lot of people want to tell you how to be because they're generally a cynic on the inside waiting to get corrected. They don't know. Most people don't know. In fact, cool is as cool does. It's like Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. I know lots of people who have been called stupid their whole life. Serious. Like, stupid their whole life. Let's take that and make that powerful. Let's say cool is as cool does. I'm serious. Like, cool is cool does. What are societies? What are movements other than people following confidence? It's really all it is. So you want to lead you. You don't want to fall over when anybody says anything to you. You want to be able to process your emotions and not flip out on people. You want to be able to be a non-toxic human being. Well, just remember who you were. Ask for your own permission. Build that self-esteem up. Become responsible to those inner conversations. I'm serious, guys. There is a world of opportunity on the other side of self-actualization. Just a world of opportunity on the other side of self-actualization. There's nothing better than being able to stand on your own. There really isn't. There's almost nothing better than being able to listen to yourself. And yes, having people around us is great. So start from there and build up. Build up people who ask your permission. Build up from the stories that we have in the past of how deep this concept is. How basically most of our ideologies are built on the concept of permission. And do we need someone else to tell us what is good in the world? Well, there can be a lot of benefit to listening, and we can learn really fast with others. I don't want to leave that out. However, let's just get real. Let's just get honest. Let's start seeing what is around us. And by being honest with ourselves, we can actually start to see the world through something than just our own rose-colored glasses. That's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, guys. You all are incredible. You are all just like geniuses from birth, and the great wheel of life crushes us all. You know, it's just what it is. So get with it. Start living it. Make your work fit into your life. Things like that. Make things that are beautiful to you. And don't ask for permission, right? Don't ask for permission. You know, if you fall outside of some kind of moral boundary or some kind of laws wherever you live, trust me, you know, you just try to be reasonable. Try to be able to work things out. Don't go to extremes unless you really do want to be alone and you desire that. Then, you know what? Maybe just consider that desire can be quite dangerous. The desire for approval is really what we're talking about today. And if you haven't gotten that approval, you feel as though you're not understood, you might even be alone. Just remember, being alone is a superpower, and you can build up from there. And with that, you can then start understanding people. And guess what they'll do? They'll want to understand you, but usually you have to take the first step. And as a call to action to all men out there, yes, I understand where the society is right now. I get that, right? I get it. You got to do something about it. Our father's generation didn't have the respect nor the requirement to be the emotional role, nor egalitarian in a relationship. And as men specifically, which is what I can more speak to, we just got to step it up. Just like with a person, even outside of the male example, you got to step it up. Ask your own permission. Does Stephanie, does Betsy, does Dan, does Brian, right? Does Ben ask her own permission to do something? Are you outside of your comfort zone? Well, get inside of that, right? Then from that security, find what makes you comfortable. Just find what makes you comfortable. And if it doesn't, be honest with people. Also, shout out to the Gottman Institute. John and Julie Gottman, you guys are incredible. Anybody out there, go check out their work. These are some of the masters of communication. Absolute masters. If you think Nietzsche and like Seneca and that kind of stuff isn't very digestible, then go check out Gottman. Like they basically boiled down all of that into like, I'm about to get knocked over here. They've boiled all that down into like very applicable relationship just advice and tactics. Like, check this out. And they talk about this openly. If you want to approach somebody and you're just starting to work on permission, say, I feel, this is called the soft startup. I feel when people, never say the word you if you're working with someone, when people act this way and I want something from that. Cool. Don't accept the way of the world. Be a little bit of a rascal. Be a little bit of a rapscallion. Be a rebel. Try to be reasonable. All right. Much love.